So strap in, Helldivers, because we have a bunch of update news to cover with you today. So, in an aim to be more transparent with us, Arrowhead has finally listened, and they're starting what's called the Tech Blog series. So within it, there's a bunch of updates that we need to cover, so let's dive right in. So addressing one of the many elephants in the room, Arrowhead is finally talking about why the hell the install size is so much larger on PC to that on console, and we have an interesting reply, so we're going to go take a better look and dive a little bit deeper. Well, friends, the answer to that is actually pretty simple, and that's because of data duplication. Now, we might be asking ourselves, why the hell do we have to duplicate all the data? That's only going to freaking increase the install size. But there's a reason for this, and that's due to being able to optimize the game across HDDs. And if you're not familiar with that, that is a mechanical disk drive, and that's for our type of older PCs that don't run off of SSD. So in an attempt to make it a bit better of a performance across the HDD, we're doing data duplication. So the duplication is needed though for the mechanical hard drive disks, and that's because the disk needs time to spin and seek the assets. So having them duplicated allows them to find the assets faster, but that will also affect the different load times for, different divers connecting. And if you didn't know, friends, when you are loading in, it goes by whoever has the longest time to connect for you to drop. So if you are playing with someone that has an HDD, you will have a longer load time to drop in. But they will try to address this, and I will cover that next. So then the question being asked by the Arrowhead devs is, do they continue to support the HDD and give it constant optimization patches as well? And it is a hard question to answer because they are evaluating maybe not down the line, and this would affect probably around 12% of the player base. And I think that, hey, if you bought the game, you deserve to have your game perform well. I know this is always going to be an ongoing challenge because the HDD drags down the rest of the performance for everyone else and the load times, but there has to be a way to find a balance for this to make players happy and be like, hey, well, I have the game and I deserve to be supported. So hopefully they find a way around this. But everyone, there are plans for fixes on the way. Now, in the short term, we're not going to really see those into full effect because it's going to be more in the background, but they still will be tangible for the overall experience. But I'm sure they'll list out what they're going to be, but nothing too game-changing. We're going to see things more in effect for the medium-term fix, and that's because they're going to start deduping assets. Now, the very common assets are ones that don't need to be sought for a long time by the HDDs, so they'll be deduping those, and that should be helping out with the overall load-in times. But then also taking a look at testing out if they can optimize and improve the RAM usage, because right now there is the tricky balance between high RAM usage or extra install size. So they're going to be playing with that in the back end and testing because they don't want to break games for everyone and make RAM obscenely overused, but also they need to have a good balance. So they'll be looking to adjust this and hopefully, smoothing it out for everyone. And the last one mentioned by them is going to be the long-term fix. Now, this is a short response, but actually alludes to a lot more. So, in the future, they're looking to make improvements to the engine to never waste RAM and loading common data. Now, that's actually alluding to a much larger conversation that the devs have talked about in the past, and that is going to be actually updating and migrating to a new engine over time. So, the devs do have this idea, right, where they would kind of sunshine the old Stingray engine and migrate everything over to something new. Now, we don't have insight onto what that new thing is, but if that does happen, that is a complete game changer for all of us Helldivers. That will put to bed a lot of the issues and a lot of the constraints that we have with the current engine and kind of open up the playing field to, a lot more of a wider array of experiences or new game modes and new textures, everything being added to the game. So I would love to see that. We're going to be keeping our eyes super close on any engine news as it drops, but when we do have that, I will be sharing it out. Okay, next one is a fun one, and that's a reminder that the Ink Divers drawing contest has started. Yes, it is live now for this entire month. So here are a list of different words to help inspire you, from drawing anything like General Bresh over to a drop pod, anything like that. But share it across social medias and be sure to tag Arrowhead, because you never know, you might see your art being shown on the official page. So get at it, Ink Divers, and hopefully you are successful. And then last thing to talk about is actually a fun redacted report. So it's kind of comical, but let's take a look. So as you can see over here, High Command Science Division was actually, mixing different E711 materials from the bugs into consumer goods. So anything from food to lubricant for deck chairs, but all led to terrible lethality. Or, friends, the interesting thing over here, and through all the comedy, we could be alluding to something else, and that's going to be the death or worse category. Now, will we be getting some infected citizens like we get with the voteless on the Illuminate front? Who knows? But it's interesting saying that, like, hey, we should never try this again. We've actually created nanoscopic black holes in certain situations from exposure. Or, things can go wrong and this should never be played with again. But this is some just speculation divers over here, and we have no idea what it's really alluding to, but could just be a fun Easter egg, or maybe it opens for more content in the future, but we'll see. Okay, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and please be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps us out. Well, we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.